Hey everyone, welcome to Bizinstitution. This is the Unit 3 Extra Practice. It's a pretty short video just to go over a few things about aggregate demand, short-run aggregate supply, and long-run aggregate supply. So the first scenario that we have here is the economy is in a recession and the federal government passes a bill creating thousands of new jobs. So if you watch the main unit video, you might remember that the federal government can really only shift the aggregate demand. Shifting the short-run aggregate supply curve is really it's really inconsistent. It's not it's not really reliable, I'd say, and it's kind of weird to shift it as well. So for the aggregate, since it's a federal command, you just know that it'll be shifting the aggregate demand curve. So if you're creating more jobs, well, what happens then? Well, if you're creating more jobs, the aggregate demand is actually going to shift outward, means shift towards the right. It's going to create more jobs and, maybe lower the bit of the inflation because the aggregate demand curve is shifting this way or towards the right in an aspect. Let's look at the next scenario. The federal government successfully deports all illegal immigrants. Well, what is exactly this doing? What exactly does this affect? Does this affect aggregate demand? Not really, and it's not really one of the ways the federal government affects the aggregate demand, as we showed in the video. It's only it's about taxes or somehow, creating jobs or spending. This is not really about that, just deporting all the illegal immigrants. Well, so it's probably not affecting the long run aggregate supply curve either, because it's not exactly talking about the long run either. It's safe to assume it's talking about the short run aggregate supply curve, because usually if it's something's not affecting the aggregate demand curve and it's not really talking about anything that's happening in the long run, then it's safe to assume that it's going to be affecting the short run aggregate supply curve. So if they're deporting all the illegal immigrants, well, this does actually reduce the workforce. So that would mean the SRAS, or the short run aggregate supply curve, goes left as the workforce decreases. What actually happens always depends in this case, but yeah. Let's look at the next problem now. Birth rates increase dramatically in the US over the next 10 years. Show the effect 25 years from now. So it'll be explicitly stated that we're looking at the long run over here. So, we're looking in the future, it'll be pretty obvious. If you see in the previous question, it's just talking about deporting all illegal immigrants, and it doesn't really say when this effect occurs. In the long run, about this effect, nothing would happen because, there'll be enough births or whatever to, mitigate the effect of deporting all the illegal immigrants. But here it's talking about that the birth rates increase dramatically and keep increasing for the next 10 years. So what's the effect 25 years from now? So it's talking about in the long run, and we know that in the long run the birth rates are increasing dramatically and they keep increasing. So that means the long run aggregate supply curve will shift towards the right. It'll increase as in the future there'll be more people, and possibly as technology evolves there'll be better technology, and all this affects the long run aggregate supply curve. Hope this helped you guys out a little bit. Thank you for watching.